world, the way it was before 30 years, now it has risen, means it has increased of around 1.5 to 2 degree. So it is warmer now as compared to how it was earlier. So because of overall temperature of the whole world, the globe has become warmer. We all feel that heat around us, and that is what is climate change. That is what is global warming. That is what is causing us all discomfort to live with this planet. And that is E part of ESG. At the same time, if we reflect back and see that how we have taken care of people around us, the communities, the tribes, the people working in the organizations, the employees, then that is also showing us a very clear picture that in some corners of the whole world, I'm not talking about one city, one country, but there are so many countries in the world. If we take an example, recently, the Ukraine and Russia war is happening. In past, Syria, something happened. Before that, somewhere in Middle, before that, somewhere in Asia, in Bangladesh, there was a collapse of a building. In India, there are so many things happening every day. So, my dear friends, whenever there is an impact on society, people, and even when we see the industries, how they work, suppose if I have to give an example, I am working with a steel company in Kolkata right now. And when I entered in the enter company, it's like a 500 acre, 600 acre big steel plant where they use coal, where they use iron ore, and then they produce steel. The moment I enter in the plant, and if I have to go and see some processes happening in the plant, and when I come back, my entire tracing has become black. So that is how people are working. That is how people are working with um, uh, the working conditions in the plants are not so well, so they might have a safety issue. There are so many companies around India and in the world who are not even paying people well. So if you are paying not according to the law of your land, if you are not paying minimum wage, then that is also a problem. A lot of things we are also going to see in the presentation, but that is all about the people. And in last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, if you ask me, there are so many scams and frauds happened in the overall governance of big organizations. Recently in the US, the Silicon Valley Bank has collapsed. It is a very renowned bank in US. In India also, we have seen, so many scams happened, and people are now, doing the scrutiny about those scams, but people have lost money. So governance aspect is also becoming very, very diligent these days. That is about ESG. So friends, let's see what exactly is E, which is environmental, S, which is social, and G, which is governance. I would also request all of you to, keep your comments, or if you have any doubt, or if you have any questions in between, you can, ask that in the chat box, so we can make it more interactive. And I was also seeing that how I can, uh, I will just ping you all to confirm back to me that you people are getting my voice properly, my speed is appropriate, and the content which I'm showing you is, you are understanding that. So with that, the first ping, if you are getting me properly, you all can go in chat box and write, going good. So please go there and write going good. So accordingly, I can then keep, going with that flow. Okay, so I got a first response. Thank you so much, Vaibhav. With that, let's move on. Okay. So let's see what is environmental part. So first thing we have to see in environmental part is climate. Climate change is a word which we often hear. Climate positive is something we are going to see in these next consecutive slides. In environmental, after climate, because in climate we talk about the carbon emissions, the greenhouse gas emissions, and sort of things we will see in this presentation. And after climate, there is something called as energy management, also water management, also waste management, also then circular economy, how we treat our waste, the plastics, the paper, the biological waste, hazardous materials also comes and fall under climate or environmental part. Pesticides, if you are using for our gardening purpose in our university, in our company, in the organization, in the government, the biodiversity, the way we manage our land, how we are, taking care of our land and not destroying that, the packaging and logistics, which is being used in companies. If you go to medical store, if you go to pharma company, if you go to supermarkets, then packaging becomes important. Those sort of things are there in the environmental part. And yes, you cannot only work on your own company. When we see as an organization, you have customers, you have suppliers, so you have to see your entire supply chain is connected with environmental related aspects. With that, let's go to social. In social, because it is talking about people, we have to see that how we are taking care of our people and their well-being. And for their well-being, how we are generating a kind of a environment within the organizations. For example, if I had to say something about our university, then see, is our university safe enough? We have all the possible apparatus made available in the university to make our life easy, and health and safety is taken care, something like that. Then working condition, is your indoor air quality good? Do you have right amount of uh, transparency in your walls and windows from where you get the natural lights? Diversity and inclusion, so you have equal amount of male and female working with your company or university or government. And inclusion also helps us to have a kind of a very diverse workforce with us, without having any separation for caste, creed, religion or something like that. You have different types of capability and team members with you. Human rights, so we treat people well, okay, and we respect them. We don't do anything wrong with them in terms of the sexual harassment, or their privacy is maintained, information data, modern slavery. Employee benefits, we give them good amount of salary, then we deduct their provident fund or ESIC, or we sometimes provide them loans or something like that. The medical insurance all to all our employees and their family members, their children's education or something is taken care by the organization. Those things comes under the employee benefits. Along with that, what impact we are also creating on the local communities. When I say local communities, means the people who are living within the 50 kilometers, or maybe if I go broader, 100 kilometers radius from our university or the organization for which we work. So you are not polluting the environment over there, you're not polluting the land over there, you are doing some sort of CSR, corporate social responsibility related activities with the people who are poor in nature. You are doing something for their health, you are doing something to bring them out of the poverty or hunger or something like that. So that also comes under social part. And then we go to the last part, which is governance. In governance, it starts with the ethical and fair practices what the organization actually follow. So how much you are transparent, what is your code of conduct, what you can do, what you cannot do, what you can do with your employee, what you can do with your customers, suppliers, how you maintain the privacy, how you are engaging your stakeholders, how your customers are communicated that what you are doing. So if you see, this is more basically more applicable to listed companies in India. So you all are aware that NSE, BSE, along with the Security Exchange Board of India, which is SEBI, they have so many compliances to be followed, and there they encourage all the listed companies to do maximum things on these, on governance. So they have to prepare their annual report, and disclose that to all the stakeholders, like their shareholders, their suppliers, their customers, uh, then the government. They have to disclose their structure of the tax, how they are calculating tax, how they are calculating profit, and they how many memberships they have, and how many accreditations or certifications the company carries, and what is your overall purpose. And the last thing in governance we will also see in detail in this presentation, and that is UNSDG. So when I say UNSDG, that is United Nations has 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and we are also going to see, uh, you know, that thing. So this is the overall and comprehensive overview about ESG in a nutshell. So that gives us the meaning of environmental, and the aspects or list of things comes under environmental, the meaning of social, and the list of things comes under social, and the same time governance, how many factors are also covered under governance. So this is ESG. Now, if you are with me on this up to now, and if you feel the webinar is going good, okay, so you can once again, give me some idea what is there in your mind, or you can write in the chat box. This time you can write going good again. Let's do going good, and with your with your inputs, then I will keep going on. Thank you so much. Okay, friends, let's move on. So we will now go and dig down, a little bit in detail about each of these aspects of environmental social governance. But the major and the very heavy weightage area for ESG is environmental, because that has the maximum impact coming out. And to understand that a little bit in a better way, I have brought something for you, that what exactly happens in environmental part. We have seen that climate, energy, water, waste, so many things are there, but let's see what we can do. So to calculate the impact which we are bringing to the environment, and because of our company, because of our university, what impact or what cause, what problem is going to the environment. To study that or to calculate that, we have to have a kind of a footprint measurement. And footprint is basically for different aspects. So you must have heard so far that there is something called as carbon footprint, and people are becoming crazy about calculating their carbon footprint as a person, as a family, as a company, as a country. For the whole world, the very big movement is happening to calculate our carbon footprint. But it is not only carbon footprint, it is also water footprint, it is also energy footprint, it is also waste footprint, paper footprint, and plastic footprint. And these things we are going to see today here. So let us see, okay? What is the first footprint we have? The first footprint we have is greenhouse gas, GHG footprint. Now, basically, what is happening, what is causing the entire world to become warmer? So we have a very thin layer of ozone around our entire Earth. And in last 30, 40 years, the kind of actions we have taken, we have removed trees, we have planted plants, or we have created companies, roads, infrastructures, buildings, and technology and processes. That has caused some impact to the whole Earth, and that layer of that ozone structure over there on the Earth has depleted. And because of that, that greenhouse gases are happening. Just for your understanding, my dear friends, it is not only carbon footprint, it is basically the greenhouse gas footprint. And when we say greenhouse gas footprint, it is not only carbon dioxide, but we also have methane, nitrous oxide, sulfur hexafluoride, and those hydrofluorocarbons and perfluorocarbons. So these are basically 6, 7 different types of greenhouse gases normally emit whenever we do something in reverse to this entire environment. So when we use vehicle, for example, And whenever we use fossil fuel like petrol or diesel or something, and when we run our vehicle, the kind of emissions happening, or the smoke which is coming out of the vehicle, which is going in the environment, that is causing that greenhouse gas effect. And that is the footprint of greenhouse gas. This is just an example. There are so many other things happening. Now, how we can measure that correctly we are having our footprint, or what is the methodology to calculate the greenhouse gas footprint? Okay, and what is the base on which the entire world can rely and calculate their carbon footprint, greenhouse gas footprint, whatever you say? Because you cannot calculate your footprint just because the way you want and say that my carbon emission is low or my overall footprint is low as compared to this company or this person. So if you want to really calculate the carbon footprint, then you have to be very much specific using some universally standardized methodologies and guidelines. So here I have brought for you this universally standardized methodology called Greenhouse Gas Protocol. And this protocol is to be used by all the people out there for their organizations, for their society, for their country, for their family. You can calculate your carbon footprint using these methodologies. And this methodology says that there's a process through which you have to calculate. And there is something called a scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. In scope 1, if you have an organization, a company, and that company is using some vehicle, the fossil fuel which you are using in those vehicles are to be considered. So you have to have that actual amount of liters of petrol or diesel which you are using in your vehicle for the company. Apart from that, if you are using generator for the replacement of electricity, or as a backup for electricity, the amount of diesel which is used to run the generator has to be accounted here. That is scope 1. And there are a few more things. In scope 2, basically you have to have the accountability or the calculations on how much electricity generally you people are using for your home, for your university, for your company. And everybody use electricity. Everybody needs energy. Without energy, without electricity, we cannot do anything at our home, university, or company. So the bill which we receive every year, every month, every quarter, from that bill, we have to take the information of kWh or units of electricity we have used for that particular period of time, and then to convert that into the carbon emission. So there are so many different conversion factors which this protocol also provides us, and we have to follow that and calculate our emission. Now let's go to scope 3. Scope 3 is a little bit in deep. So in scope 3, the amount of business travel you are doing for your business, you are attending exhibitions, your employees are traveling, your employee are commuting for them from their home to your company, and they are using vehicles, and in their vehicles they're using fossil fuels. So you have to have all that data, that information. If you are doing anything in terms of waste treatment, that will also go to scope 3. So scope 3, scope 2, scope 3, these are all the things which we always have to have in place to actually calculate our carbon footprint in a best possible way. And I hope you people are now gaining your knowledge to understand this concept fundamentally, and also take advantage of this information in your future. So this is about carbon footprint. This is about the greenhouse gas footprint, which is the first footprint in our environmental aspect of ESG. Okay, if you are all with me, then say that keep going on in the chat box. Friends, please write keep going on if you are all with me. If you like the information so far, and if my speed, my voice, the content is good enough for you, you can write keep going on, and then I will be with all of you. Okay, wonderful, wonderful, awesome response. Thank you so much, everyone. Now let's go to different footprint. Or sorry. Before we move to different other footprint, let me also tell you that there is something also happening as a carbon neutrality in this whole world. So when you calculate that how much carbon footprint you have or greenhouse gas footprint you have, at the same time, there are so many companies and people who are also doing something good for this environment. You must have heard that renewable energy is replacing the the energy which is coming from the normal grid or from the conventional process which use coal as the primary material. There are windmills, wind farms. There are so many different things which people are doing. That people are planting trees. So if you plant a tree, that tree absorb carbon dioxide. So basically, what happens in an organizational context? Okay, when you calculate, the calculation or the measurement only does not help the organization. You also have to do something to mitigate the amount of carbon being emitted to the environment. So you have to invest into renewable energy, you have to invest into electric vehicles, you have to replace your processes, products, you have to replace your packaging materials with more ecological, or I would say recyclable, or biodegradable materials. Many things you have to do. The moment you reach that, you whatever you are being emitted, uh, when you do something good, you will also be able to calculate that how much carbon you are actually absorbing. So the amount of carbon you are spreading and absorbs, and when it becomes equal, that day you can say that we have become carbon neutral. So that is the mechanism for therefore carbon or greenhouse gas. Now let's go to water. Water being the most important element for our life. Water footprint measurement is also very, very important. So for water footprint, we have to we have to have information of or data. I'm talking for an organization perspective or a company perspective, or let us assume that our university, the amount of water or fresh water intake we do every day for our university or our organization, that information we must be having. To measure that, normally people place a water meter in the main intake from where the water is coming inside. And after that, how much water we are recycling through uh, proper recyclable plant, ETP, STP, or something we have in our company or university. If we are doing recycling of our water, we also have to have that how much water we are recycling on a daily basis. And after recycling, if we have any discharge, if we have any water waste, then how much discharge we are making, and we cannot simply discharge or send that water into the normal discharge, or we can simply not put it on the land, or we cannot simply destroy the biodiversity around that. We have to have proper systems in place. So these days, the government is also bringing a lot of regulations on how you are managing your water, and we have heard a lot on reducing, recycling, and reusing of water. But for your information, I want to bring something to your mind, that we also have to become water neutral, my dear friends. And to become water neutral, what we have to do, the amount of fresh water every day we do as an intake for our processes, for the company, for the sanitation process, for the bathrooms, for the universities, for the hotels, for the airports, we also have to have something in recycling. And the best way to become water neutral is to have something called as rainwater harvesting. So through rain in monsoon, we are able to collect a lot of water. If we can collect it properly and store it completely according to the amount of water we require or we need, then we can just collect it, store it, and recycle it for that particular period of time, of month or year. And then after, we do not actually need any external source of water. If we can do sort of things, we can become water neutral also. When I say we, I'm talking about a company, a university or a person or a family, something like that. So that is water neutrality. Now let's go to the energy footprint. Okay, energy is very also important. So we have to have those information, that data, that how much energy, how many kWh we use per day, per month, per year. And suppose if we are generating our own energy, I assume that our university has solar panels already deployed on the roof, and we also have some let's say wind or solar systems even apart from the roofs. So if we have renewable energies already in place, then we have to calculate the amount of energy we generate for that particular period of time, let's say quarter or month or year. The number of kWh you are able to generate through renewable and the number of kWh you are actually using, whenever they will become equal, that day you will be called as net zero energy company or energy neutral organization, energy neutral university, or energy neutral as a family or person, or maybe your municipality or your state or something like that. Moving on, the next footprint is the waste footprint. We also have in an organizational context, whenever we go to our clients, we also set up some processes where they can measure the amount of waste, food waste, plastic waste, paper waste coming out from different processes. And then you have to do lot many things to reduce the amount of waste in your company, and then to reach to a waste neutrality or zero waste state or zero waste. There are so many certifications also available to achieve zero waste company or something like that. Next one is plastic. Plastic is also discussed a lot in last 10 years time, but in plastic I want to discuss something very specific to single use plastics. When we say single use plastics, those are all the plastics we normally use for one time. For example, the water bottle, the Bisleri water we use in our daily life, the plastics which is coming in the Swiggy delivery, the Zomato's deliveries and all. You must have seen that now they are all replacing their single-use plastics with something called as biodegradable materials. But we as an organization, we as an university, we as family, we as people of being a responsible people, we should stay away for using single-use plastics. So on an organizational context, whenever we go to our clients, we actually measure the amount of single-use plastics you people are using, and we make them zero plastic companies. So those were all the footprints on environmental part, friends. And apart from footprints, now we also have to see that how we are documenting. So calculation of footprint is also a documentation, and apart from documentation, we also have many other things where we have to create the policies to be followed by our employees. So what is your carbon policy? What is your travel policy? What is your energy management policy? Then how is your water or plastic management policy? How we are going to take care of your people, that will go in the S part. But yeah, documentation we have to do for our organization. You must have seen that big companies these days in India and outside India are also preparing their annual sustainability report. In India, there is one more regulation which has recently come. It was there earlier since last 3, 4, 5 years in India, but it was voluntary basis from the SEBI and MCA. Now it is made mandatory from this financial year onwards. That is called BRSR, Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting. We'll talk about that also today. But people have to disclose, people have to publish that what they are doing. When you make it, when you show it, then people will have some idea about your company, about the things you are doing in your organization for helping the environment, to take care of your ESG part, to take care of your sustainability part or something like that. So those sort of things we have to do. Now, very quickly, we will also try to understand that what are all those 70 United Nations, sustainable development goals. So you people must have seen these. It is very much now popular. People are aware about those 17 goals. But why I'm covering here, because those are all the things through which the world is actually going through. We have problems in this area in different countries. So United Nations, who has the primary job or work to unite all the countries and try to solve the problems happening around the world, they were also struggling to figure out that how many total problems are helping. So finally, around 10, 12, 15 years back, they figured out that these are all the 16, 17 areas. If we can seriously focus on those areas for next 20, 30, 50 years, then, then we think that we can save this planet, we can save this world, and we can make this world more beautiful place to live. So they finally figured out with these 17 areas, which starts with no poverty, because there are so many still countries. If I have to give example, let's go to Africa. There are so many countries in Africa, in Middle East. They are still, living under the poverty line. There are many places where hunger is a problem today. Corona, COVID-19 is the great example of pandemic for the goal number 3, which is good health and well-being. We all have struggled a lot, and we can understand the intensity of the world is going through good health and well-being. Quality education. Let's go into some villages of India. Still, people are struggling to get minimum quality education. Gender equality. Yes, this has become an issue for a corporate world, that there are few sectors. I don't want to name those sectors, but those sectors are still male or female oriented sectors. So we want to see a very united world. We want to see there in the organization, which is like 1,000 people company, there are 300, 400, 500 females also working together with remaining male employees. The world, even India, is going through water problem, which comes under the goal number 6, clean water and sanitation. We all have energy crisis. So, each state is having the energy crisis in our country, and our goal to become energy efficient or energy neutral by having more renewable energy. So all the solar, wind, and renewable energy being generated will go under the goal number 7, affordable and clean energy. Then 8 is decent work and economic growth in the organizational context, industry, innovation, and infrastructure in the government context or organizational context, reduce inequalities. The basic difference, my dear friend, between goal number 5 and goal number 10 is in inequalities. We talk about how we are treating people well. For a company, let me give you an example, that you are also treating or employing the people with disabilities, people who are handicapped, okay, Divyang in India, now we call them. So how you are treating them well. The people who are transgenders, how you are treating well, something like that. That is goal number 10. Goal number 11 is sustainable cities and communities. You are developing metro trains, you are bringing bullet train in India, you are making your city smart, you're making your city clean city, or something like that. So basically it is for the governance aspect. Responsible consumption and production. In industry, we cannot use mercury. In industry, we cannot use alcohol, to an extent. In industry, we cannot use cyanide. We are depleting the mother earth by bringing those minerals from the earth by having mining, or like, we are bringing those copper or steel or iron ore or diamonds or gold from the mining. So whatever you do, but you make it more responsible. You do it in the best possible way, where the environment is not being harmed. Climate action. Plant trees, do something for the land, or have uh, uh, you have some forest, or do something on those aspects. Will go under goal number 13. 14 is all about water, but how you are taking care of the biodiversity or the diversity about the water, means the fish and the lives who are there below water. So basically, you have mangroves, which can help us have those water stability or something like that. Life on land. So when you plant trees, You also take care of the biodiversity where birds are living or animals are living or those sort of things. Peace, justice, and strong institutions means you are doing, you are having code of conduct, you are having all the systems in your company, partnerships for the goals. I mean, you can join the local chamber of commerce in your city. You can also join some NGOs, the non-profit organizations working on these kind of activities. Somebody is working on a Swachh Bharat mission. Somebody is working to give food to the needy people. Somebody is working in the education area. So you do that partnerships. You explore those opportunities. Work with government. Work with United Nations. Work with people who are in this field, with consultants, with trainers. Work with the institutes or somebody doing something in this area. So those sort of partnerships are required. Otherwise, we will never be able to make this world the beautiful place to live. So that is also there. So I thought I will also give some idea about how the 17 sustainable development goals are also linked with ESG. And now you can relate that out of those 17, some of them are coming from environmental part of ESG, some of them are S part of ESG, and some of them are G part of ESG. For example, 16 is G, okay, 7 is E, or let's say 13 and 15 or 14 is E, but 10 is S, okay, 5 is S, something like that. Okay, so and there are some reporting, standards also available. So that is something which I wanted to bring to set the stage to give the overall context on ESG. Okay, uh, so I believe you people have now got the idea about what is happening in ESG on a global front or in India level, and what is basically fundamental understanding of ESG. Now let's move into the core topic for today, and then I will also try to give you some insight that how as a student you people can make your career in ESG. Before that, okay, one more time, let me understand that how it is going on. Okay, so you people can now write awesome in the chat box. Awesome if you're going with me, if you are liking the content, if you are liking the speed, the tone, the voice, the information which I'm trying to share with all of you, if you are gaining knowledge out of that, if it is helping you to understand this concept a little bit in a good way, then you can say awesome in the chat box. And after seeing your comments, I can keep going on from here. Thank you so much everyone for your response. So let's now talk about career opportunities. And I don't want to make you people see that how it is important, but I want to give you my story, which is very much important for you also to understand that how one person can make career in this space. So first thing I want to tell all the students out there, ESG sustainability is going to stay for next 20-30 years. It is something not which is going to die in next 5 years because of AI coming up, because of machine learning coming up, because of the technology which is changing. This is going to at least take 20 years. So if you are thinking to enter in this space, that's the right thought. If you're thinking to make your career in this space, that's the right career you can make. And I'm not just advising you, I'm saying you with confidence and the success which I personally have got in last 5 years in this space. So let me also tell you my own story that 2020 that because I had my ambitious plan for my life that by the time I turned 35, I wanted to have something at my own. And before that, I was into industry, I was working with companies, I was employed, and I was traveling, I was meeting people, and I was understanding that where the world is going. And then finally, I figured out that this is one area where I personally can make my own career. And you see our company, our logo also, we have our tagline called Growth with Sustainability. where the GRW in Growlity is coming from growth and LITY is coming from sustainability. This is how I fused these two words called growth and sustainability and made Growlity and gave birth to this company. Now it's a global company today. First thing which we did was to register the company in US and not in India. So it is Growlity Inc. in US. We started traveling. I started traveling. I was meeting people in US and different countries. And then, we also had to serve local clients over there in India. So we had to register one more company in India called Growlity Private Limited. So we have India office also. Apart from that, uh, so far since 2020, we are like we have more than 50 clients globally. You have already seen the name of countries we are already working around the world. We have so many trainings provided, and we have a lot of impact which has brought to lives of people. What we do, why I'm showing you all, because you can also start thinking to make some kind of a career in your future. So we do strategy consulting, we do consulting, reporting, training. Those are the services we do in strategy. We go and provide different types of strategy to companies, net zero, ESG, CSR, United Nations SDGs, supply chain, lot of things. In consulting, we do a lot of things like we go and calculate the greenhouse gas emissions for our clients, and then we help them to become decarbonized. We help them also to purchase carbon credits or offsets required for their business. Those sort of things we do in consulting. Now, what happens when we do when we make our career in the consulting or in any space of ESG? These days there are so many openings, there are so many new jobs which are being created in this area. Number one, you can become the chief sustainability officer of big companies, but that will take some time for you to be prepared yourself. So after 4, 5, 6 years, once you have that capability, you can become CSO, which is chief sustainability officer. You can become analyst because you can see that a lot of data is required. There are global reporting standards which you have to understand. In India, you have to understand the BRSR and so many things, GRI and all. So you can become ESG analyst. You can also become ESG trainer. Okay, so that is one area where you can start thinking about. You gain your knowledge, you gain your expertise, and then you can train people. Believe me, friends, India is the most populated country today, and we have awareness is still improving in India. So we are at a very right stage where you can enter as a trainer and then add value to our own country. Let me tell you that how I got my PhD on ESG. Okay. So we have in our company, wherever we go to any organization, we do these due diligence or gap assessment of that company using this methodology. So environmental factor, we have 12 things: greenhouse gas, energy, chemicals, waste, packaging, supply chain, buildings, biodiversity, water, sustainable sourcing, product, SDGs of environmental. In social also, we have 12 factors: employment, working condition, diversity, learning and development, privacy, supply chain, health, safety, so on, so many, child labor, human rights, and SDGs of social aspect. And in G, we have 6 factors: board governance, fair and ethical practices, memberships, and SDGs of those things. And when we make these 3 all together, they are 3 pillars, like E is 1, S, and G. So there are 3 different pillars. Okay. In each pillar, you have seen 12, 12, 6, which is 30 factors. For each factor, we have 10 questions. So that makes it like 300 total questions we have to ask to the company wherever we go. And even if you see our logo, black is 0, red is 1, yellow is 2, green is 3, then sky blue is 4, and then 5. That is how we rate those 300 questions. So finally, you can have the score out of 0 to, on the scale of 0 to 1500. And this is my thesis, and I'll also show you an example. This is an example of one question. So we go too much in depth, so this is one question where we are asking that how much of your renewable energy for your business. So this big steel company in Kolkata, in West Bengal, has big water reservoir. So they had a problem of water evaporation. So what they did, they had a floating solar panel installed on the reservoir of water. But they just had around 2-3% of the total electricity they were consuming, which was coming out of renewable. So then we had these answers. Okay. So how much of your renewable energy? If it is no, then you become beginner. You don't have anything and you get 0 mark. When you get 20% of your energy coming from renewable, it will go to level one. Then 40% is two, 60% is three, 80, and then 100% is renewable, then it is five. And then you become world class. See, you can see the name also given to each color: beginner, struggler, intermediate, organized, achiever, and world class. Okay, that is how we rate. Once we calculate, then we can give them score like this. So they have so many different plants. So for plant A, your score of environmental is just 52 out of 600. Plant B is 48, this is 82, something like that. And finally we have the group level, ESG score for our clients. So this is how we calculate the ESG score of our client. And based on these entire mechanism and the methodologies and the thesis I had during my study, I got my honorary doctorate on ESG last year. Why I'm saying you can become analyst in the area of ESG, because ESG is all about playing with so many different types of data and the key performance indicators of ESG. Because environmental part has greenhouse gases, energy, water, transportation, and you have gas, you have carbon dioxide emission, you have renewable, you have water, recycled of water, intake of water, you have business travel, how many flights you are taking, how many vehicles you are using, how much of amount of refrigerant you are using in air conditioning, chemicals, so many different datas. In social aspect, you have KPIs like how many women you have, the CSR you do, impact you are generating, how many tree you are planting, accidents, safety incidents in your company, and then audits and cyber security and a lot of stuff. And G also, how many of board members are from female, how many awards you got, ethical incidents or risk committee, a lot of data. So you can really become ESG analyst. And that is how we have made. So in last 3 years, why I'm showing these to encourage you people that you can really make your career. I started alone. I then brought my wife into the business, and she is CFO today. She takes care of HR and all accounting, finance. Then we have senior people. Then people join, and today we have 2-3 people in US. We have one person in Thailand. We have a couple of people in UK. We have people also in Canada, and that is how we have grown so far this much. And this slide was also updated a year back. So now we have around near about 20 people all around the world. And that is how, the career in ESG that which was started just by me as alone is growing. And today we are serving our clients in US, in Belgium, in Hong Kong, in India. Our office is in Surat, in India, in Gujarat. But we are serving our client because we are solving the global problem. We are not solving the local problem. And that is how you can also see this as an encouraging case study for all of you. I'm here sitting in front of you live. I'm right now in US serving my client, and my team is there in India and different places of the world. And that is how we help our so many clients around the world to make their business more sustainable, to help them achieve quality and growth with sustainability. So with that, I want to leave it to all of you that don't think too much. If you are seriously thinking that you can make career, you can still make career. And I encourage all of you to seriously think about it, because it is going to stay for next 20-30 years. If you need any help, any guidance, any assistance, any advice in this space, anytime you people can reach out to us on these contact details mentioned here. With that, I will, now stop sharing my screen and open the chat box, and would like to now interact with all of you one-to-one. Thank you so much for the time you all have given so far.
Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed an insightful performance of yours. We would like to take up some follow-up questions. Prabhat Saraswat, he wants to ask how ESG can be linked with Russia-Ukraine link.
Yeah, so that is a very good question. Okay, controversial enough also, but we can see from the S point of ESG from that perspective that that war has created a very negative impact on the life of people, and that has also caused a very huge amount of disruptions in the global supply chain for the companies to run. The people have lost their jobs, people have lost their lives, people have lost their relatives, and that has caused, on a multi level, that has caused impact to lives of people. And that is how I will relate to um, ESG more from the S point of view. Thank you. Next question, please.
Thank you so much, sir, for the answer. The next question is from Tanmay Singha. He asks, why are we not searching for diversified product in place of single or multi-layer plastic in India?
Yeah, so everybody is in the process to replace the single-use plastic. And the way we have made plastic as a primary material in our life, everything we were just converting to plastics. If I look back 5 years or 10 years, and we have made it a very important element of our life. So to phase it out, it will also take some time. And I believe a lot of people are doing so many good things to phase it out completely. Thank you.
Sir, he also has a follow-up question. He asks, why are we not banning plastic? Is it due to political pressure?
So there is nothing to do with political pressure. If you are not aware, that in India, from July 2022, it is already banned. So that is that is why we are seeing, so many companies, they are replacing their packaging materials to biodegradable materials from use of single-use plastics.
Thank you so much for your answer. Rick Bhattacharya, who is a student of ISWBM, he asks, how can we set a standard for ESG performance measurement so that companies who are lacking in ESG can improve themselves?
Yeah, so you have to have some things which you can measure. So you cannot simply dictate that we are doing so many good things in ESG. That is the reason I have shown you the key performance indicator slide in the presentation, because E has many things to measure, S has many things to measure, same is for G. So in total, if you really want to roll the ESG program in your company, then you will have to measure those 100 plus key performance indicators and also see your progress on month over month or quarter over quarter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your answer. There's a follow-up question. How can we make the alternatives of single-use plastic affordable in countries or in regions?
Yeah, so we have to bring it from innovation. So you have to start thinking about how you can convert the waste into usable product. So there are so many people in our own country who are working on waste to life, waste to waste. Those kind of concepts we'll have to explore. When you convert waste into usable material, which is replacing your single-use plastic, the cost of producing that material will also be lesser as compared to the virgin material you bring in the production of the single-use plastic.
Kiran Deshpande, he wants to ask how to enroll for ESG training and become ESG consultant.
Yeah, so very fundamental question, and thank you for asking. There are so many courses right now available on Coursera and Udemy, and there are other platforms also. We also provide many training programs to our clients. So you can simply reach out to those courses and see how you can start building your capability in ESG. You can start with something called as fundamentals of ESG 101 or sustainability 101 or something like that, and start slowly improving your own competency in this space.
Thank you so much for your answer, sir. Abhinish Majumdar, he wants to ask how ESG can affect the company's balance sheet.
Yeah. So what happens that so far Indian companies were looking from the question he is asking, and it's very much right. But if you see in the a broader perspective, when you work on recycling, when you work on energy management, if you are a production company, if you are a manufacturing company, there's a lot of money which is going in the energy or electricity which you use, right? So when you replace that energy by renewable energy, then your cost of energy, your cost of electricity is going down. And on a longer run, because renewable energy solar systems are for 20-25 years, generally you get the return of investment in next 2-3-4 years, and after that you can enjoy the luxury of using that energy for a longer period of time. That is how you can reduce your cost, you can have impact on your balance sheet. Same way, when you replace your materials, make it more biodegradable, make it more cost effective, that will also have some impact on your overall cost.
Kiran Deshpande again asks, is Royalty conducting any public program for ESG consulting and training?
Yeah, so we are a company which is a global company. In India, we work with the companies who are listed companies on SEBI and NSE and BSE. So we have companies in pharma field, we have companies in steel field, we have companies in engineering field, we have clients who are in IT, we have clients who are in diamond or jewelry manufacturing. So we have a very diversified portfolio of clients. And we go there with our this understanding of ESG, and we then train their people, we consult them, we calculate their carbon footprint, we also give them suggestions how they can reduce their footprint, and we also prepare that annual sustainability reports with the global reporting framework. So that is how we help our clients around the world.
Thank you so much for your answer, sir. The last question we would take up was, can you explain about water footprint in brief?
Water footprint is very simple. Or maybe I will make it in a way where any footprint is simple. You have to one hand you have to calculate amount of that resource you use, and other hand you have to also see that amount of recycling or amount of generation for that resource, something you're doing. So water, first of all, you measure that how much water you use, and other hand you have to also start measuring that are you doing anything of recycling, are you having the rainwater harvesting system. So you are not dependent on any external source of water, and you are simply recycling it, and you are not having new water required, then you are reached to water neutrality.
Thank you so much, sir, for your answer. I would now like to request our Professor
I have a
BKC sir.
question.
Yeah,
May I?
please, going on. Yeah.
Yeah, just it's a wonderful session, right? And I think the students have got a really, really, really good information that are their basic knowledge. So I just have one question. It's a very interesting that you have shown your thesis that as a case study. So you have done it for one particular industry, or just one or different one type of industry, or what?
Yeah, very good question. So I just started with the thesis which I wanted to make for myself first, and then we made it a concept first, and now we are customizing that according to different
Right.
sectors. So right now it is like more than 16 sectors where we are working or delivering our services. So it is customized for 15-16 different sectors. I'll give you an
Okay.
example. If I'm working with an IT company, so they do not have more transportation or the kind of environmental stuff we talk, but they have softwares and the servers where energy is consumed, or the people who are still commuting to come and go to their offices. So in IT, information technology sector, it is a little bit customized.
Right.
Same way,
So
if you go to
KPIs are
steel
going to be
companies,
different, right?
yes, so exactly. So KPI will have some impact, and questions are also going to be different. Those
Right.
300 questions will have some customizations required actually when to evaluate their score.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Actually, I know how much busy you are within your schedule. That I can see that what there are every day you have different sessions are going on, different. You are attending different conferences, different. You are doing lots of work are going on, and within that you've made a time for us. That's a wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Thank you.
Always
Sir,
a pleasure.
I have a question. May I?
Yes,
Yeah,
please go
please.
ahead, sir.
Yeah, actually, sir, actually, I am in a remote place. That's why I could not on my video due to low bandwidth. So my question is that I have gone through your entire session, and it was very informative and helpful uh, for all. But sir, my question is that after assessing any industry or any sector as per your questionnaire and the KPIs, when you are finding the gaps, then do you provide any suggestions, or they do themselves work on those gaps and implement those things to improve their score? That is my first question. And the second is, if you provide the suggestions also to improve their score, then do you or your organization directly implement those things, or do you have the consulting part for implementing those things? These are the two things I just want to know.
Yeah, very nice question. Thank you so much for asking. First of all, I will try to answer where both of your question can be addressed. So ESG or anything related to sustainability is a long-term process. First of all, it is not overnight journey, or it is something which you cannot do just in a month or in a year. So wherever I go, I demand my client that you have to give at least 3 to 5 years of commitment to roll out things. When we do the evaluation, the first evaluation is called as initial gap assessment or initial due diligence, where we do the due diligence of the baseline. When we scratch it, from right now, today we are here. So this is as is status. We are starting from here, which is your baseline. And after every quarter or 6 months or every year, we also keep repeating the same assessment. So let's say in 2021, I have done the baseline assessment of the company. In 2022, during the same time frame, also I will repeat that same assessment. In 21, the score was 200 out of 1500, and now the score has reached to 800. So we can see the progress. As I said you, it is a long-term journey for anyone to follow. Your score or anything which you want to do in that area has to always improve. If the score is going down, then you are doing something reverse to the entire concept. So that is how it is always validated.
Okay, that means, sir, some kind of projects the organization has to take to improve their score,
Obviously,
right?
otherwise it will never have any impact, right? So and also your customers, your stakeholders are also asking. So you will have to show them that we have brought these many systems, we have changed something. We have now replaced our electricity to renewable, we have replaced our packaging material to biodegradable materials. Our employees are using electric vehicles, we are also providing them some subsidy to buy electric vehicles. Okay, we are providing good culture, good working environment to our employee for as part. We are putting more ethical practices in our systems for G part or something like that. You will have to keep doing on, and that over a period of time will give you something where you feel comfortable or you feel confident that yes, my company is more sustainable, my company is more ESG compliant company or something like that.
Sir, as a energy management student, I would like to more, since I am getting more from you. The thing is that when any company, in terms of energy management or carbon footprint reduction process, they take any project. So, is there any mandatory kind of thing that they should follow SBTI or TCFD or any kind of thing, or do they follow any local regulations, like in India it is PAT, or in other countries there might be some other standards?
Yeah, so it depends on the nature of the organization. If you are a small company with only 15-20 people and a small setup where your final product is a packaging material or producing some farm related products, then it's not applicable. But the moment you become a listed company, then you have to also follow the compliances, the governance aspect of your listing requirements, and then you will have to have a kind of a standard which is globally accepted. So basically the reporting framework we just mentioned, I believe the small companies will not even afford that to go with, even if they want to calculate their emission using that frameworks. So it also is very much connected with the kind of maturity you bring to your organization with respect to time, And at the same time, you have to see the cost involved and the efforts which are involved in achieving those frameworks and their reporting requirements.
Okay, thank you for your information.
Okay, do we have
Good
any other
evening.
question?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a question. Actually, some technical glitch is happening to my laptop that is out of my control. I am not able to send any message, nor I am able to show. When it is a complete blackout showing in my picture. So I came back to still photo. Now the question is that you have spoken almost exhaustively in a very small 1 hour time. You have given almost a complete idea, very much inspiring, informative about this entire scenario. Now I would like to have, though it is not permit, may not, we are extending the time, just in short, if you can please mention that if a country has all the participants have very high ESG rating, then will the score of the country will be high. Companies of the country, if they have higher or good score of ESG, then will the ESG score of the company will increase? That is my first question.
Okay, so basically you want to understand that how a country level we can prosper using that ESG scores and all, right? Country level.
Yeah,
Just want
yeah,
to be specific. Okay, so how it happens? Every country has to also become compliant, not especially for complete ESG, but everybody has to be more conscious about the E part of ESG. And that is where you can see that country level there are pledges which are coming. Like for example, India is pledging that we will become net zero, which is achieving greenhouse gas neutrality or carbon neutrality by 2070. US is saying by 2050, China is saying by 2060. There are so many countries. And it is not that company are pledging. There are so many countries, I think around 12 countries, which are also already at the level of net zero. They are climate positive, okay, carbon positive country. For example, one is Bhutan. So countries have to pledge. Now, when country pledge, country will have to also calculate that overall country level, how much of the emission happening through the transportation happening through thousands of organizations working in the countries, governments, universities, educational stuff, and so many things. So there are frameworks which our government they have to follow, and they have state-wise policies, and everybody is doing that. The broader aspect of having these is from the economical benefits point of view also, because when you become more efficient, when you become more sustainable, you as an organization is contributing something to your own country's economical and sustainable development, which the United Nations wants, that everybody should become sustainable at the same time economical. When you think about it, when you start doing it, and then I believe that that country will directly indirectly bring a lot of prosperity to the people who are living in that country.
yeah. Now, see, there are indexing done for countries from their perhaps the sustainability reporting to UN, UNDP, or maybe UN, some body of UN, and it is listed available in the website that India is ranked 121. In fact, Finland is shown to have 86 score percent. They have achieved the sustainable ESG, and India has achieved only 60%. And we are behind Venezuela, Kenya, Botswana, Iraq, both Russia and Ukraine, these warring countries. Now the question is that, and another party started in say 2015 officially though, but the rank they are showing for Finland, it is about 85% in 2015, and they have increased only 1% during this 7 or 8 years period. So, what is the impact of this SDG 17 goals we say? is there any impact? Because as we see that they were already very high, 85%, and that they have in these 7-8 years they have become. Rather, India has increased by about 5%. We were having about 64, not 64, sorry, 55 or so in 2015, and then we have achieved so this 60%. So in your opinion, what should be India's quick, remaining 7 years, what India should do?
Yeah, very fundamental question, very deep question, and you have so many answers in your question already. Okay, I'll just make it short that India is already on the path to become the best economy in the world, and we are doing a lot of many things. According to me, the ranking and the index and the scoring comes from the number of people you have in your country and the amount of interventions which are happening over there. So, being the most populated country in the whole world, the amount of transportation which is involved, amount of livelihood which is involved, the amount of food we consume, the farming we do, and the electricity consumption we have, the amount of digital content consumption we have, internet consumption we have, that everything matters for a country to go in that rank and that index. And that is where, because of the number of people and the population, we may have some good elements over there to contribute in that rank and index, and we also have some negative element on that. And I believe our government is very rigorous and working very strong on those all aspects under the Niti Aayog and our the Ministry of Climate Change and all. They're all putting a lot of efforts and bringing our country to a kind of a level. And I believe in next 5, 6, 7 years time, our index and ranking will have a great impact, and you can see that we are improving very fast on that. I hope I have answered you, and since we have
thank
time,
you. Actually,
I
we
believe
shall be in
we
touch.
can,
We shall be in
yeah,
touch.
we
If
can
it is
always be in
time,
touch, and you can catch me offline after this, and we'll have to give respect to the time for everyone. And from my side, I want to extend my gratitude to all the people who were there, who have given time and made this event, participated in this event. We hope to catch you all, be in touch. I'm there on LinkedIn. You have seen my contact details. You can take my details from the institute, and always love to be with all of you, to be part of your growth with sustainability. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. We would like to ask our Professor BKC sir to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
It is our wonderful. It is a wonderful session, and I am really feeling great actually that we are in this session. We passed about 1 hour, almost 1.5 hours, in a very efficient way. And definitely this is contributing to at least some contribution towards improvement of our rank or our goal, 17 goals, because it is so beautifully you have presented such a complex issue in a so simple manner, which shows that you have nurtured the entire knowledge into your bloodstream in such a nice way that it is automatically coming in when we are getting from you. It is, I think, everybody has become so much satisfied, so much questions and queries. It is an indicative of that. And so we remain very much grateful to you, and we wish that this association will continue, and you have guided also the budding managers that how they can become trained and they can go out for this new venture. This is not, it is going to end in 2030, but it is going to continue in a bigger way, in fact. And it is just a warm-up session, this 15 years, because sustainability, by as you have mentioned, that already 20 or so, 20 plus countries have declared that they are already net zero, and some are having some already committed by 2050, which indicates that it is not a very easy war. It is a long-term war, and we have to win that war again within ourselves. It is actually more fight within our own self, because as we see that 17 goals, each of them we can contribute by just even our own thinking, even if we do not do, because each of us are a part of this global system, and if we do our own job in a nice manner, then perhaps we can contribute to this goal in some way or other. So it is very, you have represented the entire thing in such a nice manner that it will remain in our mind for, it will sustain in our mind for a long term. And we want to cherish that with pleasure, that this will continue, and there will be some more resonance effect, and we can become really a sustainable world. We can achieve our future generations, they will live in a sustainable world. With this, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts, from on behalf of IISWBM, and we also thank all the participants for their active questions, for their listening, and for carrying forward this mission.
Thank you so much, sir. We would like to ask the participants to kindly fill up the feedback form in order to get the certificate. Thank you so much, Nitin sir. It was indeed a great experience today. And we would like to end this session now, and we would like to ask everybody to leave this session for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just an announcement that every month, second Saturday, we continue such talk. And so we welcome all the participants to join every month, second Saturday at 7 p.m. On behalf of this Energy Management Department and Association of Energy Engineers Kolkata chapter. This is hosted by AEUSA with their network system. And this will happen. It is also sustained, a sustainable program. Okay, thank you. Thanks to all of you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.